BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading with the prices going up or down. Over on total for the daily, we are indecisive overall, so I would watch. Our momentum is coming down, VWAP is favoring bearish, and the money flow is green but does not look very strong, so watch that VWAP. If it continues to pull back, we could reject here. And we did warn of that yesterday, so hopefully that doesn't catch you by surprise. But over on the 1 hour, we do have a little bit of a rounding top. So again, watch out. This could be a lower high. If this forms a lower high compared to back here, and then it's followed by a lower low, that's where we could see that bearish breakdown. Right now, the VWAP does have a bullish trend pushing momentum higher, and that will give money flow strength if that VWAP can stay bullish. But I would watch very closely, because if that VWAP breaks down, we could still have a lower high. So despite our VWAP being in a bullish trend, price action is not matching. So I would watch very close. We need to hold this bullish trend without breaking that neutral. If we break that neutral, then I would warn for all of our altcoins. Over on Bitcoin futures, so the daily does look like we are indecisive here as well. Our stochastic is pretty flat, RSI is pretty flat, momentum is starting to round. That VWAP does look like it is in the bullish territory, but it's not very strong. So watch those lower time frames. They need to hold more bullishly if we're going to see a stronger push up. Now, if we do reject here, that is positive, because that does leave us with a gap to fill. So short term, going to be negative, but long term, we do have an area we can bounce back to and look for. Now, that being said, remember, we do have those lower gaps still, so don't get those out of the back of your mind. We do still have the gap around that 97K. So if we see bearish momentum, that would be where we would likely end up heading if we can't hold the 103, 102 level. Our VWAP is starting to pull back. Momentum is starting to round. So watch that VWAP. If that VWAP continues to pull back here, momentum will continue to round away, and money flow will likely reject, staying in the red and bringing us down, giving us the possibility for strong red candles on these higher time frames, as the 1 hour is in the red, 2 hours in the red, and the 4 hour is coming down. Watch out for that 4 hour to break into the red. Remember, when all three time frames break into the red, that's usually when we see a strong candle that would break us one way or the other. Remember, if it's red, we're going to go down. If it's green, we're typically going to go up. Now, over on the daily for Bitcoin, we did try to push up. We tried to break that high, but we were unsuccessful. That VWAP is trying to hold bullish. Momentum does want to stay bullish, and the money flow is green. But overall, they're not really gaining much strength, and they're kind of stagnating here. We wanted to see a strong green candle to give us confirmation. We did not get that confirmation with a strong green candle. The 1 hour, though, does have higher lows with slightly higher highs. So that is positive, because that could create a bit, actually, it may not be positive. I take that back, because this is a rising wedge, and a rising wedge is a bearish pattern if you watch the Mastering the Trade. So we measure from the top down. That gives you a breakdown. And if we do push up to around the 108K, right around here where the peak would be, we could end up pulling back down to this Fibonacci level, just shy of where we were for this previous low. And then we could end up breaking into a bearish trend if we're not careful. That momentum is starting to round. We do have a red dot. VWAP is breaking down, and the money flow is in the red. So I would exercise caution. If that VWAP continues to push down here, then we're likely going to continue to push away. We do have 2 touches at the top, 2 to the bottom if you count back here, and usually on the third is when you would break down. There is a higher probability of getting a bounce according to the MBP, but if we do not get that bounce, then we could get an early breakdown, and that would bring us right around that 102, 103K support level that we need to hold. Now, over on graph for the daily, does look like we have some indecision here as well. Our VWAP is trying to push forward, but it's starting to struggle. Momentum is pulling back, and the money flow is pretty flat overall. So overall, we don't have very much strength. Our stochastic is starting to pull back. It does want to push forward, but we didn't get a strong bullish cross, and we did try to break this support. We're probably technically under it if we look at the 1 hour. Yeah, we're technically under our support, trying to make a rounding top. top. So again, watch out for a lower low here. If we get a lower low here, the MPP is projecting a drop to around 10 cents. Our VWAP is in a bullish trend, but again, price did not manage to break past its highs that it was stagnating at, and we are starting to see some, like, a fight for this range. That momentum does want to push forward. Our money flow is starting to pull back. But if that VWAP can stay bullish, we could still push forward. I would just err on the side of caution. If the rest of the market looks like it's going to pull back, it's likely that graph would follow it. Now, coins can do their own thing, and once in a while they do, so keep that in mind as well. So take everything with a grain of salt. That's kind of why we go over multiple coins, because it's not just a one-size-fits-all all the time. Our RSI on XRP for the daily is pulling back, so Stochastic wants to pull back. We do have that orange starting to diverge away from the blue, so we are getting a little bit more bearish momentum on the stochastic, which will bring RSI lower, and that will cause further red candles. Our VWAP is favoring bearish, bringing momentum lower, and the money flow is in the red, so overall I would exercise some caution. Over on the 1 hour, does look like we may have a symmetrical triangle. So if we take our trend line, draw a line there, take another one, draw a line here, that would be our symmetrical triangle. They have a 50-50 chance of going up or down, so this is going to be our move up, and it's coming from consolidation, so oops, did not mean to do that, is coming from consolidation, so we would have an equal chance of breaking down. We would not have a bear pendant here. Now, if this triangle was formed back here, then we would have a bear pendant because it would be coming from a breakdown, and that would give us a further downside potential. Now, that being said, that means that $2 range that we have been talking about may not come. Our VWAP does want to round, momentum is starting to reject, and the money flow is in red. Again, we would want to hold this 220, about 220-ish area. If we cannot hold that range, then that's where that $2 range would come in. But if we do see a breakdown and we are able to hold that 220 range, then we may not see those lower targets. So last but not least, remember, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. We have Anchor for the day, and we did try to push up to our pattern. So we are trying to fight against the confirmation. So again, the rest of the market is indecisive. We are seeing some consolidation after a push down under this pattern. So we could have a bear flag forming here. But if the rest of the market does push up, don't be surprised if we invalidate this and this ends up being just a manipulation push down. Remember, that does happen as well, and that's why you trade with stop losses and you don't go all in, all out. VWAP is pushing forward though, momentum does want to curl, and the money flow could gain some strength if that VWAP can continue to push forward here. Over on the 1 hour, it does look like we do have some higher lows with higher highs, so we are trying to break into a bullish trend. I would watch for a push toward that 1934 like the MPP is pointing towards. There's about a 50% chance of hitting there and a 50% chance of rejecting where we are. Now, if we do hit there, I would still err on the side of caution because that's just jumping up to fill a gap, and if we cannot hold there, then the bears could still gain control. Now, our next target after that would be about 1965, and then we do have those higher gaps up beyond, like around that 20-cent range, and so on. So I would watch. We're not going to cover every gap because first we had to step our way up to the first couple that we have. So we will want to see that. Again, if the rest of the market pushes up, then we could try to push into this pattern, see those fill, and then invalidate it. Our VWAP is overall a little indecisive. We are trying to favor bullish. We do have consistent bullish waves with a higher short wave here. So if we can make a bounce, making another higher low, and then we see a stronger VWAP wave, that would be what would help carry us into that pattern and push us up. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night. Hit the like and subscribe and join us in that Discord.